Hey Shobia, thanks for joining the call.
Hello, Sai.
Hey, I'm going to give folks a couple of minutes, and this session is recorded. So what I'm going to do is discuss like the data model in NetSuite and the different aspects of it, and then post it on YouTube as well. Okay. And we can get started sharing the screen. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'm going to share my screen and get started in a minute. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Hopefully you all can see my screen. So what I wanted to discuss today is like data extraction and like BI tools using NetSuite data in general. So like the idea is for me to go over like the NetSuite data model, understand how you can extract data from NetSuite, look into a few objects within NetSuite. And yeah, if you need further help with like analysis of your NetSuite data, like using SuiteQL queries, or any BI tool consultation for your instance, or any help with the training as such in NetSuite, do reach out to us. You can fill out this form. I've put this link in the chat, so you should be able to see it. I have also provided what we're going to discuss today. And if you want to like install the SuiteQL query tool that I'll be showcasing on the instance, like how to install it and follow the steps on this YouTube video. If you wanted to like follow up after this call, we can definitely do that. So yeah, these like I'm going to discuss these three sections on this call today, and just give you a high level overview of the like the features between like ODBC and REST API and what they are like on a high level within NetSuite. And I also have provided some links to help you with NetSuite as such. So some freebies here as well. But yes, without further ado, let's get started. And this session is also recorded, so I'll be posting it on my channel as well. So in case if you miss something, you don't have to worry about it. Everything is going to be covered and like posted there. Okay. So yes, let's start with the NetSuite data model. So what I did is in a demo instance currently that I have access to, I've installed a SuiteQL query tool, which basically lets you run like SuiteQL or SQL within your NetSuite data. So for example, right, let me, so like I put the steps in that YouTube video for the same, so you can follow it. So this query editor lets you view different objects in the system. For example, I'm going to use a basic SQL command to get the list of accounts in the system, right? So this would allow you to get your like all of the accounts in the system, what they are, what the names, what subsidiaries they belong to, and so on and so forth. All of the list of fields that are available for the object account, right? So that's the first step in understanding, like, I mean, the different objects inside NetSuite, right? So you want to know, okay, what all objects can I query? So the best way to look at is if you're an admin or a power user who has access to records catalog, right? This is the place you would go to view your objects inside NetSuite or your records that you have access to. So under records, like the object that you're looking for, and if you click on SuiteScript and REST Query API, it gives you the list of fields currently in your instance. So this might vary. Obviously, the standard fields are the same, but you should be able to see all of these fields that you can access. So, and when I selected start from account, right, I am like if I scroll all the way down and all the way right here, because there are a lot of records, I should be able to see all of these fields that I'm pulling in the records catalog. Right, let's for example this here. There we go. So all of these fields will be available here. So this is going to be a starting point. So you might ask me, okay, so how do I know how the data model in NetSuite looks like? Okay, so the best like possible way is actually it's called a schema browser within NetSuite. So if you look up, and it's called Connect Browser, this is a little obsolete, like it's not been updated in a while. This still uses the old tables, but it still gives you a high level. I can put the link here on the chat. This gives you a high level overview of what the like the general idea of how a structure looks like. So everything is based out of the transaction table and how everything is interconnected to like the different objects in the system. So like you have a transaction table which is connected to like say accounting periods, like accounting line accounts, customers, vendors, right? So based on that, you have based on the modules that you have in the system, this might change. But the general idea is anytime you want to like bring out transactions from NetSuite, like you can always use the records catalog to get started. And for example, I'm just going to start off with like say the transaction table. Okay, I can just search for this and select Suite Script and REST Query API. Yes, this is the older version. I agree. Like the old accounting module, like, but the thing is, it gives you a general idea. Obviously, the table names, the fields are all different. The only reason I gave you this is just to give you the ERD diagram. That's it. All of the fields are kind of different now. So you're right. This is pretty obsolete. This is old, but just wanted to give you a high level idea where you can get started in understanding the data model. So obviously now it's going to be the records catalog. You can go in here, and if you see account, like let's say we are looking into account, right? In the join section, you can see how each of them are connected, what the field ID is, the cardinality for each of them, the account type. Okay. We have a question. Okay, awesome. So I was actually looking into the transaction. So like I said before, every like whichever module, so hopefully you guys got a chance to work with NetSuite. So that's what I'm assuming you are in this call, or if you are just getting started with NetSuite and you wanted to like explore the NetSuite data as such, you wanted to build reports, save searches, you wanted to extract data, your stakeholders or your clients are looking to build reports out of the data. There are multiple options. So just wanted to give you a high level overview of everything in NetSuite is probably based out of like the transaction table, except like the different list types of entities that you have. For example, you might have vendors, right? So all of these are like individual dimensions that you can pull in, but everything is connected to a transaction, made purchase order, a sales order, an invoice. So all of those different types of transactions are associated here, and you should be able to bring out these fields. So I'll give you a sample. Okay, using the SuiteQL query tool, this is developed by Tim Dietrich. I think I included his details as well. Like he's pretty active on LinkedIn, and I got a lot of help with like some default SQL queries out of the box. So if you install the SuiteQL query tool from the link I gave you, you should also see a remote library. You can get like say general ledger, GL impact. So I currently put in a basic a query here to give me debits, credits, right, for a transaction ID PO001. Let's say I go into this purchase order. So this purchase order in the system has an amount of 500. Okay, and it has some expense lines. Obviously, it has all of this. So I wanted to pull that data using SuiteQL query tool. Okay, so I just use that remote library, put that query here, and in the where clause, I just added this document number PO01, same as this here, and it's the transaction ID. So once I do this, I'm able to get that details, like the debit, credit, like which accounts it's associated with. Obviously, we can pull in additional information as needed here, right? And one of the most important functions that you can work out of, without going into too much technical details, is built-in.df. What this does is it gives you the corresponding field name and not the ID. So what I mean to say by this is, let's say when I run a select star from account, you probably will notice that a lot of the fields have IDs associated with them, like say ID 109, 319, and you don't know what that ID is corresponding to, right? In that case, a built-in.df function will be pretty useful, which basically gives you the original source from where it is being pulled from. So let's say I'm trying to get the account name from here and from a transaction. And by default, when I type in from a transaction, let's say, let me show you actually. Let's see, we are trying to get the an account field from here, like which it's associated with. Or actually, let's see. Okay, so we have transaction lines. Okay, so you have, like, for example, you see an expense account. Okay, so if you're trying to pull this currently using our query, currently we are not pulling the transaction line. So if we were to try and bring that field here, or let me see if I can bring in another field which is similar. You can use this function to get the corresponding name of that particular field. So let me see if I can. So you can use account base number and account base number. Let's see if this works. Okay, this is currently blank, but the idea is to give you, okay, so now I got this account base number, and if it gives me an internal ID or if it gives me a record ID, all I need to just put here is a built-in.df. And that would potentially give me the actual value of it. So it's more like it's doing that join for you without having to specify the join here. Okay, so yeah, just keep in mind about this built-in.df. So going back to our overview, like understanding the data model. Okay, so transactions, like I mentioned before, and everything, the key entities, transactions, customers, vendors, and items are like the key objects that you can get started with on the data model. So items, again, they're available at the transaction line level. So you should be able to see how they are associated. Let me show you. So if you scroll down, there are going to be a ton of fields on the transaction record. Obviously, there are custom records, custom fields. So you should be able to see all of these here, right? Once you scroll through all of these fields, you'll get a high level understanding of how it's currently developed. So transaction lines is where you have all of your line level data. When I say line level, which means when you have a purchase order, right? Anything on the top is header level. Anything at the bottom, expenses, is all line level. So if you wanted to bring this line level information, it's going to be on the on the transaction line here. Okay, So the transaction lines will also have the items associated with them. So you should be able to pull the item here. If you see here, the item type, and from item you can further also, if you want to get further information from the item record, you can further join it. Like say, let's go to the item record. So you should be able to see that like the item will give you a list of fields that you can join the transaction on. Like, so let's say, so it'll show you some of the transaction joins that you can do, and you can use the item field to basically join it with the transaction object. So this is just a high level overview of like the records catalog, how you can write SuiteQL queries within NetSuite. So do like take a look at it. So let me put up another table reference. So the other way is also to use this tool itself. So I'm just searching for like the transaction table. So it will give you a list of all the joins that you can do. Let's see, account. So yes, these are all of the high level joins you can do from the transaction table. So it gives you all of the fields. It will give you the query itself for the transaction object in NetSuite. So you can use this in the tool of your choice. Okay. So yeah, this is just to give you a high level overview. The next, given the interest of our time, like you can definitely do this at your own convenience. You can install the SuiteQL query tool and play around with it. Obviously, the next section is going to be the data extraction methods. So if you have worked with NetSuite, you probably know that there are save searches that you can work with in NetSuite, right? You have like a bunch of save searches that you can play around with. So what is a save search, you might ask if you are new to NetSuite? It's nothing but like a query which you keep on using again and again with the results, certain filters. So it's the most powerful way of getting data out of NetSuite. So save search is basically using the same data model as the analytics, and it lets you pull in the data from the NetSuite like database, and it lets you put in the fields that you're looking for. The only constraints with save searches I've noticed is you can't do multi-level joins where you can use SuiteQL to like basically do that. So for example, I'm doing 2 joins here, transaction accounting line account, and then if I wanted to go another nested level, right? A query will allow me to do it, but save searches have certain limitations with regards to that. So just keep in mind when you're doing save searches, you can always build save searches for that. And the data extraction route is you can extract it through a CSV, Excel, or like obviously like PDF and print it out and email it. You can schedule emails through save searches. But the thing to keep in mind is you can definitely, this is going to be a manual process out of NetSuite, right? You're going to extract the Excel file. Like you're going to extract it, save it, and then you can load it into like another tool of your choice. So there's that. But there are other ways you can automate this. Now, like if you're working with an automation tool like Power Automate, or you can send out emails. So for example, when I edit this search, there is a way to schedule emails every, like say, you can specify the frequency of the emails that are being sent, right? So we can use this to email it to, and then from those emails you can then connect to a tool of your choice. We've built out automations through this. So like using save searches, you can definitely build out like a BI tool or even connect to Google Sheets. So there are ways to do this. So just giving you an option here for save searches. And yeah, like save searches is just one aspect, obviously, of NetSuite reporting. You also have the other option you have is you could use reports. Obviously, reports gives you a much more standard out-of-the-box feel from NetSuite, how the data is, right? You can always export it to Excel. You can customize it like with certain filters, segments, but the customization options are limited. If you wanted to have like custom formulas in here, it's going to be limited. You can't slice and dice as you feel like with the limitations of standard reporting. Okay, you can definitely use another option. Let me see, is using a web query. So I've mentioned this in my YouTube channel as well. Like if you guys are interested to export data to Power BI, you can always use a web query. When I say a web query option is more like it allows you to view the data as of a particular date. So let me see if I can save this. It hasn't expired yet. So let's say we have this data here currently. And what I'm going to do is export web query option. Okay, so this lets me view it in Excel. So it gets the data as of that particular point in time. So as of 4/11/24, so you will get the latest data coming from NetSuite, and all you need to, if something gets updated here, right? So for example, I change it to April 30 and refresh it. All I need to do here is the same thing. Data and refresh. It'll ask you to enter it, and the next time you can save it. So this will refresh by itself. Like, so you just need to, like, you can also schedule a refresh, but yes, this is the idea between a web query. So these are like two of the options that I've shown you. The other option within NetSuite is what they're trying to call it, like the analytics workbook, which is almost like the BI solution that NetSuite is trying to up their game on, is the workbooks, where you can build out a data set and use that data set to then build out visuals, right? So I've built out a sample data set. You can see this is using the same data model which we've looked at in the records catalog. So it's the same thing. You're going to build out a data set, and then from here, you can use it to create a new workbook. Okay, you have the following options. You can have a chart, a pivot, table, based on how you've used your data. So it's all drag and drop. I'm just doing an example here. And then refresh this to get that data there. So we change the format, but yes, just give you an idea of like if there's no data that's coming through, it's not going to work. But may head back to my transactions to see if we have any data or it's filtered out. Oops, maybe that's why. Remove this here, apply to workbook. There we go. So we have some data coming through. Just so I give you, this is an example. Obviously, we can put in like other the parameters to give you dates, times, and you can create pivots, you can create charts. So this is the other option within the data set, right? So these are the three inbuilt options within NetSuite. Like you can have reports, analytics, save searches to extract data out of the system. Obviously, you have SuiteQL that you can run, but the next two options, which make sense of like SuiteQL, are going to be like the REST API, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. So like what the REST API is basically the NetSuite like instance has a way to like you can extract your data through REST like an API call, or you can use SOAP web services to basically like get the data out of the system in a particular format. Okay, so this is just an example that I wanted to show you guys. Is I'm using Postman. It's a tool on the cloud where I'm just trying to, I connect it through, for authorization reasons, I'm not able to show you that, but you can connect using tokens. So token keys, and you're going to create like an integration record and token keys in NetSuite. I can share the link on how to do it in your own instance. So you can then establish this to then bring out results, right? Can get employee results. These are going to come in like in a JSON format. Obviously, there needs to be some transformation that you need to do to get it to work for you. So REST API is a good free way to do it, but you need some developer knowledge and some authentication power in your organization. If you're like not an admin, it gets harder to build such streams of data come through. So just to keep in mind, this is one way of doing it. The other way is through ODBC. Let me see. I built a cash flow in NetSuite like through ODBC. So what essentially like the ODBC driver does is you can write a query. Let me see if I can show you that. You can write a query and have the data. So I've written a query here, and I have that data that's coming through into Power BI from NetSuite directly. The advantage with ODBC is that it's a much more robust environment, like way to pull the data out of NetSuite. It doesn't require much development skills for just pulling your data. All you need to do is simply follow the steps. I've actually put the steps here. So I put a step-by-step guide on how to connect. Let me see if I can open up here. So yes, there's a guide if you wanted to follow. You can use this to basically connect. You need to have certain permissions. You need to enable SuiteAnalytics Connect if you need, like, it's a paid license with NetSuite. So once you like create that, you can use Power BI or Excel or any BI tool of your choice to pull that data out and build. You can directly connect to the object that we saw in the records catalog, or you can use SuiteQL queries to build it out. Okay. So yeah, those are like the high-level options that you can use to extract data out of NetSuite. So any questions so far? I mean, you can type out your questions that you guys have. And I can show you like a demo of like the cash flow report I was just showing you earlier, like how I built it is the same way. I basically use the account table and I pulled the transaction related to the account, and I was able to build a cash flow. So I was able to get all of the account types and then just put it together. So financial rows here, long-term liabilities, all of these, just get the amounts, and then the end of the year, different periods the client can slice. You might ask, why do I have to do it when NetSuite also has a cash flow? It definitely does, but what if I wanted to like add in additional dimensions? I wanted to have like graphs, year-over-year analysis of cash flow, right? There are certain BI stuff that NetSuite is limited with. So with this, I can quickly like how I can do it like just change the view. Obviously, sometimes obviously we have to tweak it a little, but just giving you an idea of like why it's easier to do it through a reporting tool than just an example. But yes, it's easier to do it through a reporting tool than via NetSuite sometimes. So yeah, just so you guys know that there are other ways to do this. Let's see if we can bring in anything. Yeah. So for investing activities, I wanted to see, like, it gives me an overview of 2022, 23. And obviously this is 2024. I have YTD data, which is less compared to prior years. So I can see how for different investing activities, the data is different. So if I pull in another set, okay, assets, for example, long-term liabilities. So these are all some of the examples we can use to build out custom reports out of NetSuite. So yeah, yes, the last thing I wanted to discuss here on a session today was actually why it's easier to use ODBC than REST API. Obviously, there are some of the advantages that you can look into. Real-time data gives you performance. It's much better in terms of performance and compared to REST API. Obviously, REST API is free, and SuiteAnalytics Connect costs you money, but it depends on what your company is looking for. If you're looking for a long-term solution that works and allows you to scale using a data warehouse, then you can use this. Whereas REST API is free, but if you don't have a large data set and if you're looking for just get small sample data sets and build it over time, then I would go with REST API. Right. I've also put in some like stuff to help you guys out. Yeah, and if you wanted to like reach out to me with any questions, follow-ups, if you don't have anything for today's call, you can use this form here, like just fill it out, email what like ways you've exported, what you need help with. And yes, I will reach out to you and we can set up a follow-up call to discuss further.
Thank you, Sai. This is Umesh. This is really helpful for me. I'm like, this is my day 101 for NetSuite because one of my friends just told me like NetSuite is good and I should explore
Yes.
for my data analysis career. So I was just looking into it. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's really helpful and easy to use tool, I feel. Is there any like what it is called? Training environment where I can go and do a hands-on?
Okay. So the biggest constraint with NetSuite I've noticed so far is like training the demo accounts they used to give out for free before, I think 5-6 years before. Nowadays there's no scope for demo accounts, unfortunately. You have to pay for Oracle, like NetSuite Learning Center. So if you look up NetSuite Learning Center, yes, I'll share this doc again. 1 second, sorry. See if you guys are able to access it here. So look up NetSuite Learning Center, right?
Yeah.
So NetSuite Learning Center allows you to do it. Obviously, we also train, but we do it like more on a, like I would say, corporate level. But we've been trying to help individuals too, because NetSuite demo account is expensive for us. It almost costs us like $10,000 a year to just get the demo. Yeah, it is expensive. So we are offering trainings due to that. But like we charge around. So I have some courses that I've been doing. Let's see if I can take you guys through it. So I have 4 sessions. Like I can do consultation if you guys need to work with. So I can give you guys access to like a demo account that I have access to, but this is the problem. It's expensive. And NetSuite ecosystem, like if you guys have already seen it, it's mostly a closed ecosystem. That's been the biggest disadvantage for me as well when I was learning. But fortunately, one of my clients was migrating data from Salesforce to NetSuite. That's where I got to understand, okay, this is how NetSuite works. So for me, I'll be honest with you, the fastest way to learn is become a junior admin or get a junior level job in the NetSuite space.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions, guys? Like, so if you wanted to like understand like any other aspects of NetSuite from a data perspective, you can I think records catalog is something you can always Google and see. I think there is, don't know if you can get access to Suite answers without. So there's another way you could get the data. It's NetSuite Help Center, right? So sometimes it requires you to log in, but otherwise, Umesh, like I can tell you that you can always understand the data better through there's another browser called REST API browser.
Yeah.
So it gives you, I'm hoping this is free to access. I'll put it on the chat here. So it gives you all of the data from a REST API perspective. So an account, for example, we were looking at from a SuiteQL. Now, if you wanted to look at, okay, how do I like get the account data from like a REST API standpoint? This is how you would like do it. And this is where you would get the data for the same. So you see the fields. So this is where you can, it'll give you all of the different account related data points in the system.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And yes, I would definitely suggest if you have access to an instance of NetSuite, definitely install the SuiteQL query tool so you can run the queries inside NetSuite. And you can understand like, okay, where if certain data points are missing, okay, this is where you can get it. And one important thing is why NetSuite data model is important is because NetSuite itself is an ERP tool. So it has access, you can do multiple, like you can have multiple people doing multiple jobs across different departments. So it's not just for like accounting per se, you can use it for like your marketing team, like say inventory, manufacturing, sales, right, HR. So there are different modules inside, even analytics now, like your NetSuite has its own data warehousing platform too. It's called NSAW. So NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is another tool which is up and coming. It released like I would say 2 years ago, and it's still new, but it has like its own. So NetSuite, you can have your NetSuite data inside the warehouse. So you can run reports, queries, and bring your NetSuite data on periodic basis and load it there. It's called NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. So that's also a great tool to look into and learn. You have like the learning center. So yes, like NetSuite Learning Center is one place. Let's see if I have access to this. It's been a while, but yeah, the Learning Center will give you an overview of like what you can. So fundamentals, for example, it'll show you. So you'll have all of these courses here that you can access, right? So if you wanted to get certified in NetSuite, you can always use like they have multiple courses to just get you with like say Suite Foundation. I think they should have something with regards. Yeah. So they give you like a detailed prep on how you can use Suite Foundation or like the exam prep for NetSuite certification here. Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, we can let me see in group chat. You can call it a day. But yes, feel free to reach out to me here if you need further help with like the NetSuite data model, or if your company or team needs help with any trainings or assistance. Looks like that.
Thank you, Sai.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Yep. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.